Princess Leonor's decision didn't just surprise Spain, it exposed a problem the royal family has been trying to hide for years. Because when the future Queen of Spain quietly chose a public university instead of one of those elite royal institutions everyone expected, people inside Madrid reportedly froze. Not because public universities are bad, but because Leonor just sent a message without saying a single word. And honestly, I think this is bigger than people realize. Because this isn't just about education anymore. It's about image, power, pressure, and whether Leonor is slowly becoming the most strategic young royal in Europe right now. Think about it. While Prince William and Kate Middleton continue representing that polished, traditional royal image in the UK, Leonor feels different. More calculated, more modern, almost like she understands how Gen Z sees monarchy in 2026 better than the monarchy itself. And here's the strange part. The palace tried to present this university choice as normal, simple, routine. But when royals suddenly try hard to look normal, I start asking questions. Because usually, there's a reason. If you're new to Leonor's story, subscribe, I post every day. Now here's where this gets interesting. Over the last 48 hours, Spanish media hasn't stopped talking about one tiny detail from Leonor's latest public appearance. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a royal ceremony. It was a look. A very specific look she gave when reporters asked about her future after military training. Not nervous. Not pressured. Honestly, she looked like someone who already made up her mind months ago while everyone else was still debating her future online. And I think that matters. Because for years, people assumed Leonor would follow the same carefully protected royal path. Private institutions, royal connections, controlled environments, the classic monarchy formula. Instead, she keeps choosing difficult environments. Military training, strict discipline, public exposure, and now, a public university. That combination feels intentional, almost too intentional. And I know some people will say, well, maybe she just wants a normal student life. Sure, maybe. But I don't fully buy that. Because nothing inside a modern monarchy is accidental anymore. Especially after what happened to royal families across Europe over the last decade. Public trust is fragile now. Every move is branding. Every appearance is strategy. And Leonor grew up watching that reality in real time. That's why I think this university decision is actually a PR masterclass disguised as humility. Seriously, if Mr. Beast ran royal branding for 1 week, he'd probably tell them the exact same thing. Stop looking untouchable. And that's exactly what Leonor's team appears to be doing. Because Spain in 2026 isn't the Spain of 20 years ago. Young people are skeptical of institutions. They question privilege instantly. They analyze everything online. The second a royal appears, too elite, social media tears them apart within hours. Leonor understands this game, maybe better than older royals do. And honestly, that's what makes her fascinating to watch. Because she's not rebelling loudly. She's doing something smarter. She's blending duty with relatability. That's harder. Anyone can rebel dramatically. We've seen that before in royal history. But trying to modernize the monarchy without destroying it. That's the real challenge. And I think Leonor knows exactly how delicate that balance is. Now let me explain why this public university choice shocked establishment circles in Spain more than international audiences understand. In royal systems, education isn't just education. It's networking. It's protection. It's controlled influence. Elite universities create elite circles, future politicians, business leaders, diplomats, people who already understand the unwritten rules of power. That's why royal families traditionally prefer those spaces. So when the future queen moves toward a public institution instead, it changes the optics completely. Suddenly she looks accessible, reachable, less distant, and whether genuine or strategic, it works. That's the important part. It works. And honestly, I think other young royals across Europe are watching this very carefully right now. Because Leonor's popularity keeps growing for a reason. Not because she overshares online. Not because she creates scandals. Actually, the opposite. She creates mystery while still appearing relatable. That combination is rare in 2026. Especially now, when everybody is constantly online trying to force authenticity every 5 seconds. Leonor doesn't overexplain herself. And weirdly, that makes people even more curious. I noticed something else too. The media narrative around her has changed dramatically over the last year. At first, coverage focused heavily on her age, appearance, or ceremonial moments. Very surface level stuff. Now, people are discussing her decisions, her discipline, her preparation, her symbolism. That's a massive shift. And I think military training played a huge role in that transformation. Because whether people support monarchy or not, discipline earns respect. There's something psychologically powerful about seeing someone with privilege willingly choose hard environments. It changes perception instantly. And this is where I think the palace has been smarter than critics expected. Instead of shielding Leonor completely, they've slowly exposed her to pressure step by step. Military training, public scrutiny, intense schedules, and now a university choice that places her closer to ordinary Spanish students. It's almost like they're building a future monarch designed specifically for the social media age. Not untouchable, not overly glamorous, but resilient. And honestly, that may be the only survival strategy monarchy has left in Europe. Because look around, public patience for royal excess is disappearing fast. That polished fairy tale image that worked decades ago doesn't hit the same anymore. People want effort now. They want authenticity, or at least the appearance of authenticity. And yes, I said appearance too, because let's be honest here, modern royalty is still performance to some extent. That doesn't mean Leonor is fake. Not at all. Actually, I think her biggest strength might be composure. She rarely looks rattled publicly. That's incredibly difficult for someone her age under this level of attention. And here's my hot take nobody talks about enough. The real pressure on Leonor isn't becoming queen. It's becoming relevant. That's the harder job in 2026. A monarchy can survive criticism. What it can't survive is irrelevance. And every decision she's making lately feels aimed at solving that exact problem. Even this university story. Because think about how this plays online. Young Spaniards can now imagine sharing classrooms, campuses, or academic spaces connected to the future queen. That psychological distance suddenly shrinks. That matters more than royal experts admit. And honestly, this strategy reminds me a little of how successful modern public figures operate today. Less perfection, more controlled relatability. You see it with politicians, influencers, even global celebrities. The era of untouchable icons is fading. Now audiences reward people who appear human enough to understand ordinary struggles. That's why Leonor's image keeps gaining traction internationally too. She represents a monarchy trying to evolve before it's forced to. And whether people love monarchy or hate it, that's interesting to watch. Now, there's another layer here I don't think enough people are discussing. Security. Because a public university environment creates completely different challenges compared to isolated elite institutions. More unpredictability, more exposure, more public interaction, which means one of two things is true. Either the palace is extremely confident in this strategy, or Leonor herself pushed harder for independence than people expected. And honestly, I lean toward the second option. Not rebellion, independence. There's a difference. She doesn't come across as someone trying to destroy tradition. She feels more like someone trying to update it quietly from the inside. And that's actually much more dangerous to old royal systems because gradual change lasts longer than dramatic rebellion. I also think comparisons with other royal families are unavoidable now. Especially Britain. Because while British royals often dominate global headlines, Leonor's approach feels calmer, more measured, less chaotic. And ironically, that restraint may end up becoming her biggest advantage internationally. People are exhausted by non-stop royal drama. Leonor's brand, whether intentional or not, feels built around stability, discipline, preparation, control. Even this university story fits that pattern perfectly. No huge emotional interview, no dramatic statement, just a decision that quietly changed the conversation. That's influence. Real influence usually moves quietly first. And here's what I personally learned watching this entire situation unfold. The smartest public figures in 2026 are not the loudest ones. They're the ones who understand perception before everyone else does. Leonor seems to understand that instinctively. She knows modern audiences study details now. Body language, environment, choices, symbolism, everything becomes part of the story. Which means choosing a public university isn't just about education anymore. It becomes narrative architecture, a signal, a message. And judging by Spain's reaction, the message landed exactly how it was supposed to. But I'll leave you with this question because honestly, this is where the conversation gets really interesting. Is Princess Leonor genuinely trying to live more normally? Or is she becoming the most media-smart royal Europe has seen in years? Because the more I watch her decisions lately, the harder it becomes to tell the difference. And maybe that's exactly